welcome to another edition of the Nation This Week. You're with me, Elane Eizaz. And as usual, on this episode, we'll discuss trending issues locally and globally with our panel today. And joining me in the studio are Eizaz Azhar, Managing Director of 7W Associates, and Arif Hakimi, Muhammad Naim, former Deputy President of Youth Care Malaysia. Hello, welcome to the studio, guys. How are you doing today?
Great, thanks for having us.
Fantastic. Let's kick off this conversation. I mean, last week we made an announcement, launch of the Menu Rahmah. So what are your thoughts on it?
I would say one part of the puzzle has been somewhat reduced, which is the final price, but you can't do that at the expense of creating trouble with the sellers. The cost element is just something that I feel was either done probably in a bit of a rush manner. I believe many food operators were not fully aware of this wave coming in, and some of the reputation impact of it. Some food sellers have saying that they get very negative backlash from the consumers. Oh, your restaurant doesn't offer such a menu, and you're not keen to support the people. So I feel that is creating a negative impression to those not offering Rama.
It's a business decision because you need to be sustainable. We're looking at sustainability. We're not just offering charity
Just
here.
not charity organizations,
right? Which brings me to the next story. We're talking about supporting local businesses because the idea here is to support local businesses, improve our economies. Arif, you want to start this off?
There's many elements that goes into it other than a reflection of the economy. Is really also the sentiment of supporting local vendors and local manufacturers. It's a bit too early to say that this is really a pickup because I think the economy remains very uncertain. The impact of last year's Ukraine war has actually yet to fully dissolve, and we can see in Europe the energy cost spikes. Though we don't see that so directly, the later impacts to our economy can be felt. So I think it's a bit too early to say it's picking up, but I can say it's starting to at least meet pre-COVID times.
Which brings me to the next conversation where road tax discs. Since we're speaking about cars, road tax changes just a couple of hours before broadcast. Road tax stickers are no longer required for private vehicles.
I'm super excited to hear the news because I think anything removing physical material is a step towards saving Mother Nature.
Sustainably.
Yes. If I can just slide to another topic of Undi 18, if you recall, right? I think it was a great initiative. They have managed to lower down the voting age. However, probably I feel something missing is really the preparation towards achieving the goal. The goal is to really achieve political literacy and give back the power. But without having the education plan to it, then having people vote at the age of 18 might have repercussions in terms of their readiness and whatnot. So hence the debate around this topic. Similarly, I think in this digitalization, I feel a common issue in Malaysia is we are very fast to launch and to get these things out, but implementation plan and educating the frontliners who actually be dealing with the systems seems to always be the challenge. So I foresee this might happen for this case, but I think with a bit more proper planning and communication, I think really a step in the right direction.
Now let's move on to topics that you'd like to highlight, Arif.
Alright, I know it's a Friday and a lot of us are excited for the weekend. I don't want to burst anyone's bubbles, but I do want to remind everyone about a topic that we should all be very worried about, which is climate change. We've been hearing it so very often. Let's take a quick recap of what happened last year, some of the big numbers, right? So I think we saw Pakistan, right? I think you know the floods. The worst flood in its history. 2.1 million people were left homeless.
Yes, displaced.
2,000 people have died, right? So in Europe last year, in the month of July alone, there were 50,000 more deaths recorded above than usual during the severe heat waves in the region. And US, there was a mass amount of wildfires that destroyed 7 million acres of land. 2,000 people were killed. And that's all at the tip of the iceberg. Speaking of iceberg, every single year, 750 billion tons of ice is actually melting. So let's put that into perspective. That's probably around 10 Olympic-sized swimming pools of water adding into the sea every single second as we speak. So that is what's causing all of this monsoon and
we're turning into water wall.
Exactly. So places like Maldives, where I plan to have my honeymoon probably one day, will be gone in sooner than we expect. A latest study has shown that if no real intervention is done now, 3 billion people living on this planet today will be in areas no longer habitable in the next 50 years. So what can we do, right? So either there's a lot of government initiatives and campaigns. If I can leave everyone watching this show today with one action, is really just to look at our consumption, to reduce consumption. And if I can zoom down a bit deeper, consumption of food and fashion. Every single meal that we have, every single grain of rice or chicken or whatever it is, the journey of it landing into our plate has had so much carbon footprint. Whenever we plan for our food takeaways and ordering in, being mindful of portion, remember that every single grain that goes to the landfill is you contributing directly to climate change because it's 8 to 10% of global warming coming from food waste.
Talking about ChatGPT, we were like playing around with it and we were talking about more on the health perspective and the accuracy and the dangers of it. So Arif, your thoughts on this before we like sort of end the show?
Yeah, I really want to put some light on the career part of it. It's great, it's super exciting. I actually just used it last week to prepare for a speech. I think those in the working world should really see how do you then still remain your value at the workplace, right? Because many of these things slowly, not just talking about automation, but the intelligence part of it. If an AI could develop your marketing strategy, then what value do you as a marketing manager, for example, bring to the company? Now, those conversations should really be along the lines of where do we as humans still bring value, or will we all be irrelevant in the coming very near years?
I have only about a minute left. I wanted to sort of like talk about your last topic.
Again, it's Friday. People are looking forward to the weekend. If in the shortest time, a lot of people have this mindset that your work is stealing time from your family and friends, which might be the case for some people. But have we been looking at it at the wrong light? Is it a work-life balance or is it a work-life integration? Can my work be a part of my personal life? And that is really reflecting how we define our daily routine and habits. You can look up about work-life integration. But I find that in today's world, especially the pandemic really accelerated people's mindset of how work can be super flexible. Of course, there are some work that you can't tolerate. You need to be physically there. But so many work can just be a laptop and an internet and you're good to go.
Right.
And that can be really utilized. Many young people having this argument that I'm sick of work. How do you then make work so integral in your life? Remember the value you're getting from the work and not feel like you're killing yourself going to work every single day.
Thank you, Arif. So that's all the time we have on the Nation This Week. We're speaking to Eizaz Asam, Managing Director of 7W Associates, and Arif Hakimi Muhammad Naim, former Deputy President of Youth Camp Malaysia. I'm Elane Eizaz. This has been The Nation on Bernama TV. Salam Malaysia Madani. Thanks for watching.